Welcome to the world of unknown, the world of mysterious circumstances. You look to your left in through that door. A very spooky clown. To your right, another door. A weird platypus with a smoking habit. But then you see behind you another scary door that leads to the ultimate what if.
Run the intro again.
Don't. Please don't. You really gonna do this?
Well, it's our show. We do what we want.
Oh my god, no. Not another freaking wrestling podcast.
Yay!
Like I said, I don't give people watching me on. So, either you love me or you don't.
I love you.
I love you too. And you heard it here first. Welcome to What If Kevin Nash was a good world champion, where Jake and Will are going to lay this story out for us. And we're going to start at Survivor Series 94.
Y'all do not understand the level of thought that Jake and I have put into this. There's so many matches that we thought of out of this that will not make the tape. But we literally booked the entire fucking Fed around making Kevin Nash a star, and then very coincidentally fucking up the entire NWO.
Great. Like the original version, man. We had the IC title book.
Yeah, it started out literally just, what if Kevin Nash was good? And then there was so much, oh, but what about this? That it then forced us to book the Intercontinental title around that same period of time. But that's a story for another time. We'll lightly touch on that. But Jake, go ahead and kick us off at Survivor Series.
Well, I was going to say, for an example, like when we were booking the IC title for this whole thing, like Waltman ended up with the IC title at one point. Like Lil Bitch, 123 Kid ended up with the IC title.
I'm not going to lie. And that was solely my brainchild, and I made Waltman a star.
Yeah. There was going to be a program with him and Owen Hart, and it was going to be amazing. Anyway, as everyone knows, fucking... It's Survivor Series 94. Bret Hart wrestled Duckhurst, fucking Bob Backlund in the towel match gimmick, and Backlund got the belt from Bret because of Owen Hart shenanigans. That's where we're starting the story. Because what was it, 4 days later at a house show? Because anything could happen on a house show.
It was within the same calendar week.
Because I can't remember. Did Survivor Series happen? Because they moved it around. It used to be on Thanksgiving night.
That was around the time that I want to say they started moving it a little bit before Thanksgiving, because especially after the 90s, running a pay-per-view on Thanksgiving Day is beyond unsustainable.
Well, because you got to fucking deal with football.
Exactly. But by then they had more than diminished their hype that they were not in the Hogan era heyday anymore, so there was no fucking way wrestling could compete with fucking football around Thanksgiving. So I want to say they had moved it roughly a little bit before, because I feel like Nash had actually won the belt off of Backlund shortly after Thanksgiving at that house show.
So that show actually happened on the 23rd of November. So it was the night before Thanksgiving.
When Nash won, or Survivor?
But Survivor Series was on the night before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So I believe Nash won the title from Backlund that Friday or Saturday, because he had it on Raw on Monday. So Backlund beats Bret. Diesel gets the belt. 3 days later, house show. We're not changing anything about this. He can come out and cut his white meat babyface promo. It was a mistake, actually. They should have kept letting him be the cool guy like he was when he was a heel. But I digress. Everything runs as normal up until that, but you start building towards Brett, who has a legitimate gripe at losing the title to Backlund because of the Owen Hart shenanigans, and Diesel for Rumble 95 in January. You run their match. Brett heals out, as he did in the real match that they had. Brett started being sneaky heel, being a piece of shit, but maintained being a babyface. That changed it. Full on heel. Turns heel in the match. Can't beat Diesel. Turns fucking heel.
Exactly, because Diesel is too goddamn powerful. It's the Royal Rumble there in Insert City here. They are in Insert City's arena here. Kevin Nash is feeling off the energy of that crowd. There's no way Brett can stop him, and Brett knows that. That's why he has to resort to sneaky cheating shenanigans, but it's still not enough, because I think you're forgetting Kevin Nash is really fucking tall.
Oh, yeah. In editor's note, Rumble 95 was in Tampa, Florida.
Oh,
Exactly. Florida people love tall people. Everybody knows that.
where are we in?
We're at Rumble 95.
We are on the precipice of the golden age of Big Daddy Cool.
It's Diesel's first title defense against Brett. Brett heals out throughout the match, as really happened. But then Brett goes full on heel at the end when he can't beat Nash. So, but then the Royal Rumble match itself, who's winning that to get the title shot at WrestleMania? Well, none other than the bad guy, Razor Ramon.
Exactly. Entering at the most unlucky of numbers. Everybody knows 13 equals shenanigans, but entering at Royal Rumble entrant 13, the bad guy Razor Ramon, he's coming in. He's clearing house. Oh my goodness, he just dumped out Hacksaw Jim Duggan. He just jumped out Jay Youngblood. I'm pretty sure Youngblood wasn't there anymore, but I really like Jay Youngblood, so he's in the Rumble.
I mean, Takao Omori was in it all the way.
And Razor dumped him out too. All the way from number 13, becoming the Iron Man of that match. Because before
the second Iron Man, because remember, Shawn came in first.
How could I forget the final two was Razor and Shawn, and they get a good solid 10 minutes straight of working each other during those final two. They put on a clinic, and ultimately, who goes out? Shawn. And we now have Razor Ramon as the Royal Rumble winner, going on to WrestleMania to challenge, if he still holds the belt, his best friend, Diesel.
Yeah. So we hit WrestleMania in Hartford, Connecticut. We're at the Hartford Civic Center. Lay it out for us.
Best friend show for the World Championship. But incidentally, not going on last, because what was the main event of WrestleMania 11, boys and girls? It was Bam Bam Bigelow versus Lawrence Taylor, the footballer.
And that is still our main event because, first of all, Lawrence Taylor put on an amazing performance for an outsider.
Absolutely.
And also, I refuse to not acknowledge the greatness that is Bam Bam Bigelow. I've been seeing a lot of Bam Bam Bigelow slander recently. And I just need y'all to remember there's one key match from Prime pre-Fred Bam Bam. That's him versus Cactus Jack, where Cactus Jack hit that fucking dive.
That's it.
At the entrance ramp and did the most physically impossible thing that will never be replicated. I apologize for my burping, y'all. I'm drunk.
So you guys going to keep most of the card the same?
Yes. Everything that's not
Yes.
round Diesel will be relatively the same, except for the moving parts involved.
Yes. The Intercontinental shifts slightly but we'll touch upon that when necessary because Shawn Michaels is the key to all of this.
Wouldn't that just make him please this pun?
But we are at WrestleMania, your co-main event. Commentary's putting it over so hard that this is, in fact, still the main event of WrestleMania, despite the fact that it is undisputably not the main event because Lawrence Taylor and Bam Bam Bigelow is, in fact, the main event.
Yep.
But
And
we
you've got
have
the
Kevin Nash
It had
defending.
the added story beat that a few years before that, Nash wrestled against Razor Ramon for the IC title at SummerSlam and lost. That was the famous "What a Pittance" promo.
Which Razor has made full sure to bring up not only that match, but that promo, and has still been, Nash has been trying to keep it cool, you know, Razor's his best friend, you know, he knows Razor's a cheeky ass little fucker, but that's his best friend, and Razor's gonna get cheeky with him, and he keeps trying to get under his skin while still being like, oh, I'm your best friend, you can't beat my ass,
Yeah.
you can't hate me, while getting under his skin. And then finally we have the match, the co-main event. Goes about 20 minutes, 21 minutes max, because we're working with Razor and Nash. We know how to maximize their abilities, and anything over 20 minutes is a detriment to both superstars.
Well, maybe
But
Kev, but not.
we're working it over. Razor is getting a majority of the heat in this match. He keeps putting down Nash, keeps working the legs, keeps hitting a lot of heel hooks, a lot of bulldogs to drive Nash's face down, hitting that high-low Street Fighter combo, but mostly working those legs, but can't get it out. Nash keeps kicking out at 2. And then finally, towards the tail end, we see that tease, that glimpse into the future. Razor's getting fucking fed up. They're brawling outside of the ring, and they do a dive where both of them come crashing from the apron through the announcer's table. Of course, the Spanish announcer's table, because back then they were still racist. And so they dive through that, and they're both down, and they're both sprawling up. Razor manages to get up because Nash bore a brunt of that blow. He dumps Nash into the ring, and he sees right next to him, what does he see? None other than the WWF Championship. And he picks it up. He slides in the ring, and he realizes the ref is distracted. He has his moment. He can just fucking deck him with it, and 1, 2, 3, win that belt. No fucking problem at all. And he's standing there in the corner, contemplating, and ultimately decides, nah, that's my dog. That's Big Sexy. I can't do that. And puts the belt down, and as he's setting the belt to the side, Nash recovers himself and hits him with that big boot. Literally the best looking move that Nash has ever done in his life. Hits him with that fucking big boot. Jackknife powerbomb, 1, 2, 3. But just in the nick of time, we do that bullshit Mid-South finish where they kick out just a half second after the 3, so no one looks weak. I call that the Greg Valentine.
That is the Greg Valentine. And to aid your visual comprehension of the scene, if you think back to, was it WrestleMania 8, where Bret Hart wrestled Roddy Piper, which was one of my personal favorite matches, where Piper has the bell, and he thinks for just a second about fucking cracking Bret with that fucking belt, and he throws it down, and then Bret hits his comeback. That's very similar to what we're doing. Like, Ramon has the belt, and he looks at Nash, and he looks at the belt, and the crowd's going crazy because they don't want to see Razor Ramon be healed. And he lets them get to him for just enough that he puts it down. And
he listens to the crowd for just enough to convince him, which pay off later, bitches.
Well, now we're moving on to In Your House 1 from Syracuse, New York. Got some good matches on this card as well. Are we going to keep that the same? Because we got a Razor versus Jeff Jarrett and the Roadie.
Indeed.
Mabel Atom Bomb. I mean,
because as far as I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ramon was Intercontinental Champion at WrestleMania 11. So this would have been like title for title. This would have been like WrestleMania 6, Hogan Warrior. So In Your House 1 would have been Jarrett Ramon IC title. With the "oh, you're a chicken," whatever finish, Jarrett wins the fucking belt from Ramon. Boom! Now Jarrett's a fucking single star. Because he wins the IC title from Ramon. Ramon just
That's
fucking
God
in
intended.
WrestleMania. So I inadvertently made Jeff Jarrett a big star, much to my chagrin, but hey.
So Razor's dropping the belt, and main event. Now that we've fully established Kevin Nash as a big dog, not only is he big, but he's also got that dog in him. Thus, he is a big dog, both figuratively and literally. He's just defended the world title at WrestleMania. So few people have done that. And then who do we have next up for him?
Mr. Bob Backlund, cashing in his rematch clause.
Exactly.
Which is
Bob
the
Backlund.
grave injustice that he never, ever got his rematch after he dropped that title.
So we wanted to do Bob Backlund justice because I don't know about the rest of y'all, but personally, I fucking love Bob Backlund. I think he is one of the greatest workers to ever grace wrestling.
Yes.
He is one of the, in his era, a lot of people love to prop up everyone in that era, but I legitimately believe of his specific class, he is one of the only people of his breed to truly understand every single facet of wrestling.
And let's not forget, in 94, 95, the heel Backlund, his promos were incredible. Yeah, granted he used, and in interviews you can hear him say it too, like he would use big words erroneously on purpose. Because it was like, look how smart I am using this big word, but you used it incorrectly. You know, like, fucking brilliant. Fucking brilliant. Anyway, you would have your build up to Backlund getting this shot, and he's like, I'm going to put you in that crossface chicken wing, Mr. Diesel, and I'm going to beat you for this championship, Mr. Diesel. I'm going to win. We had the match. All good. We're doing great. Somehow, Diesel fucking counters the fucking chicken wing. Doesn't get it all the way in. It's the fucking power bomb. Who runs out? Owen, Jim Neidhart. Diesel dispatches them with relative ease. But then there is in the hole in through the fucking crowd. Brett, who turned fucking heel at Rumble 95. Pissed off that he's not the one that got the fucking rematch. Because he was done wrong before, even losing the title in the fucking first place. Why does Backlund get the championship? He won it by the various means. So forward thinking, we're giving Brett the heel with a point, but he's being a shithead about it years before the New Heart Foundation with Pillman and all that. Forward thinking.
We basically kick-started the New Heart Foundation before Pillman was a factor.
Yes.
Because one of the biggest drawbacks we had while cooking this up was if you look at the upper mid-card to main event roster, they had tons of baby faces, but like no heels. And we needed at least one more heel because the heels we had available were not the ones that, yeah, you could do feuds with Nash and you could milk it, but it wouldn't make it great. And so you have Brett available, and Brett literally turned heel not too many years later. So why not kickstart that a little earlier?
Yeah. You just do the Anti-American Heart Foundation a couple years early.
I think that was very well thought out. I like that a lot better.
Yeah.
Than what actually did happen.
And on top of that, Nash is still retaining the belt against Backlund despite the Hart Foundation run-ins,
Yes.
which will then lead into the next pay-per-view, a Brett versus Nash singles, and Brett finally getting his rematch. But it's still, you're putting over Brett as having a mob force and being a big top heel, while also still putting over Nash as a suitable babyface that he's overcoming not just Backlund, but now outside forces of the Hart Foundation invading. And he shut down Backlund, so now he can fully focus on Bret Hart in the Hart Foundation.
And it's too
Speaking of that, we can continue on that because we're going to be at King of the Ring 95, Philadelphia.
Yep.
Go ahead and continue your point because it all coincides here. If I'm
Exactly. So we have our King of the Ring bracket, which we left relatively the same. We still have Owen Hart winning the tournament. But our world title match is a fatal four-way involving, obviously, Nash defending his belt against Bret Hart, who has now finally weaseled his way back into title contention. And we have Razor Ramon, who still feels wronged by how the end of WrestleMania went down and still feels like if he got another shot, he could get the upper hand and beat Nash without having to even consider cheating as an option. And then number 4, we have none other than, I'm pretty sure we had him as the Intercontinental Champion by now, but Shawn Michaels.
No, we didn't. Shawn's still running well with the Intercontinental title. We put Backlund in this.
Oh yeah,
I've had against the previous.
I apologize. I forgot Backlund got in this because Backlund demanded a rematch because it doesn't matter that he lost. There was outside factors involving Owen Hart and Jim Neidhart and Bret Hart.
Mm-hmm. But the Harts are banned from ringside for this 4-way.
Exactly. Well, and Owen's already in the tournament, so he's taken care of. And Jim, I remember we had in an opening singles match against, I can't remember who, but I also remember Jim got fucking murdered.
But
I honestly think it
works.
was fucking King Mabel.
Because in the canon of our universe we've created here, Jim ensures, much as he did for real, that Owen wins the finals of the King of the Ring. Because in their mind, Owen wins King of the Ring. Bret wins the title in the 4-way to set up the All Hearts world title match later down the road because the winner gets the title shot. So Owen wins King of the Ring, then you have your 4-way match. Clearly, Diesel comes out on top by the skin of his fucking teeth.
Managing to hit that bare knuckle running leg kick because goddamn Nash was good at those on Backlund to retain the belt. Razor's fucking pissed because Razor, prior to Backlund getting pinned by Nash, Razor had Backlund fully set up. He hit the Razor's edge. He had him fully set up, but before he could make the cover, Nash comes in with that running big boot and covers Backlund to take the 1, 2, 3. So Razor's fucking mad because by all accounts, that should have been his match. That belt should be his.
And then to buck what was actually a tradition of the winner getting the title match at SummerSlam, Owen decides to jump line and says, no, I don't want my championship match at SummerSlam. I want it next. Diesel is at his weakest after that 4-way. After the beating my brother put on him and the beating that Backlund put on him, I can beat him. In Your House 2, main event, Owen Hart versus Kevin Nash. And somehow Nash overcomes the numbers game with Bret and Jim, still beats Owen. But somehow Ramon gets involved to save the title for his buddy. And then Adam Diesel gets the win. Ramon challenges him. All right, you beat me. But
Oh,
we're
so
gonna do like we do it in Miami, man. We're going
so
to
what went down is Owen and Nash are down. The ref is doing their whole blah blah blah, whatever. Both of y'all get the fuck up. Jim comes in and is distracting the ref. While the ref's back is turned, Brett comes in, grabs the belt, and is acting like he's gonna hit Kevin Nash. Razor runs down, his music hits, everybody freaks out. He comes down, clears out Brett and Jim, and snatches the belt out of Brett's hand before he can hit Nash with it. And then Razor's just standing there holding the WWF Championship, staring at it, and then staring at Nash. And then suddenly he's got flashbacks. He's at WrestleMania again, contemplating should he smash his best friend with his own belt to claim the title. But it's all different. And he throws it down. He slides out of the ring and lets the match conclude. Razor's just standing there in the corner. Nash hits the 1, 2, 3. He successfully defends the belt against Owen. Hart Foundation stewing and pissing all over the place on the entrance ramp, and Razor's still there just in the corner by the timekeeper's table, staring at Nash.
Now, let me ask you a question, Jake. You said SummerSlam. Are you moving SummerSlam to Miami?
That would be actually fantastic, considering.
Because your SummerSlam is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Not anymore, because
It
we
was
have our
happening.
main event of SummerSlam. Razor Ramon, Kevin Nash,
Street fight.
street fight.
A Miami street fight.
I was
And-
literally just about to fucking say that, but you ruined me creating dramatic pause.
But you set that up on the Raw the next night.
Exactly.
Yep.
Because
Diesel-
Razor's already, he had that moment. He didn't necessarily cost Owen the match directly. He just shut down Owen's cheating shenanigans. But Razor still believes that he could have beat Nash, which by all accounts, he could have. If he hadn't either decided not to hit him with the belt or even not picked up the belt regardless and just capitalized, he probably could have become WWF champion and this main event wouldn't have to happen. But Razor feels that this has to happen. He's been robbed. There's no other way. He doesn't care that Nash is one of his best friends. He knows that this has to happen. So we get a main event street fight at SummerSlam, which also, as supplemental, Undertaker and Shawn is happening for the Intercontinental Championship. Or no, X-Pac and
Well-
Shawn is happening for the Intercontinental at this show as well. But that doesn't matter.
But the Raw after In Your House 2, that's where Ramon lays out this whole thing that if it wasn't for you people, man, I would be champion. You made the bad guy feel bad for being a bad guy.
So if you want
A
me to
bad
be
guy.
a bad guy, then I can be a bad guy.
Right.
That's a good fucking shit.
Declares himself as the fucking heel going into the Miami street fight in Miami for SummerSlam.
Can't believe you guys didn't think about this Miami thing.
So I know I'm forward to Miami SummerSlam. Miami Slam. We have Shawn retaining the Intercontinental Championship over X-Pac. Not important. Our main event, our Miami street fight. Razor Ramon, his music hits. He doesn't come out. Okay. We hit it again. He still isn't coming out. But mind you, this is the middle 90s. That bit hasn't been overly played out yet. So we hit it 2 more times and he still doesn't come out. So then finally, commentary literally just goes, fuck it. And here comes Kevin Nash. As soon as Diesel's music hits, he starts coming out. He does that weird arm raise thingy that he does. As soon as he starts doing that, who comes from behind with a fucking steel chair? Razor Ramon.
Boom, baby.
Beating him down with that. Music cuts off. He's whamming him with the steel chair. Grabs him by his, and by all accounts, beautiful fucking hair. Because Nash had great hair in the 90s. Grabs him by his 90s beautiful hair. Pulls him up and says, "I'm sorry, but you would have done the same." Keeps wailing on him, drags him to the ring, tries to go for the cover. Nash kicks out at 1.
Razor pissed.
Cut you, man.
So they're brawling. Razor keeps fucking hammering down on him, but Nash is just eating it. And then we get our classic Nash Hulk up moment. Nash is just eating that shit and getting more hyped up because he is, and I think you were forgetting, an 80s to 90s baby face.
Straps down, baby. We're going.
Straps fucking down. Nashing up.
A young Kurt Angle takes note.
Starts wailing back on those right hooks. Wailing. Razor's eating them and firing them back. They're hitting that strike exchange. Then he finally hits him with a good one. Razor stumbles back to the ropes and starts to run back for another big boot.
Goddamn big boot.
Get you every fucking time, man.
Every
in my head too.
time.
Like
They
in my
tussle,
head, this strike
they
exchange.
rustle. They're tussling, they're rustling, they're bustling, and they are goddamn ruffling. But ultimately, Nash comes out on top with the jackknife powerbomb through the table onto some steel chair. Singular. Because this was, you also have to remember, this was the 90s. We weren't getting that crazy yet.
Somebody out did this and watched some ECW before.
Nash gets the cover, but also you have to remember, this was the 90s. Egos were a flaring, so you goddamn know Ramon kicked out at 3.5. Ramon's pissed that he lost. He's doing the whole demanding 5 more minutes from the crowd, the ref, everything. Nash is just like, my boy, you lost. Keeps trying to shake his hand, keeps sticking his hand forward. Ramon refuses. He's fuming. And then finally punches the fucking ref. Nash grabs him and is like, "Brother, what the fuck are you doing? Earl Hebner's just working his job. He still works here."
Poor.
And you know what Razor does? Dick kicks Nash right in his very tall groin.
At 2, Diesel.
Kicks him hard in it, and Nash doesn't fold yet. He does the typical sell, stumble back, and Razor's like, "Oh my God, what did I do?" And then fully doubles down and kicks him in the dick again before Nash crumbles. And he starts whooping his ass. And you know who comes out to try to help? Bob Backlund. And you know who gets his ass whooped by Razor Ramon? Bob Backlund. Because Razor Ramon is out of fucking control. He just destroyed Kevin Nash and now Bob Backlund. Is hitting Razor's edges out of everywhere. Hits 3 Razor's edges on Nash. Hits 2 on Backlund, and then 1 on Earl Hebner.
Poor Earl. Man was just trying to do his job.
And bounces him off of the extremely durable American announcer's table.
Let's move to, I think we get to Raw before In Your House 3, and there was something going on there that you guys are touching on real quickly.
Right, because we had, remember Cam Cornette in the 90s was a thing. Who would Jim Cornette want to align with in a situation like this? Well, the fucking Hearts, obviously.
Gold Dust.
No, the fucking Hart Foundation. Jin's a traditionalist, right? So who else would come along with that? Well, none other than Mr. Fujin Yokozuna, former World Wrestling Federation heavyweight champion. So now, like, we're gonna make sure there's nothing left to you, Diesel. And in your house 3, you're gonna fight former world champion Yokozuna, who never got his rematch.
Exactly. But on top of that, the entire build up to that, you know who's been gunning for him, making sure that he tries to get injured to lose that belt before that Yokozuna match? The entire Hart Foundation. And on top of that, he's still conflicted about Razor Ramon because we haven't seen him on television since SummerSlam.
Hit him with a kid.
So we go into In Your House. We have Yokozuna versus Kevin Nash, and he's limping hard. He wears the pants singlet, so obviously you don't have as much free real estate to do the tape up bit, but he's got hella tape on his shoulder because that is what real estate we have to work with. He comes in there. Yokozuna's mollywopping his ass. He keeps trying to go for a body slam because obviously we can't start with going for a finish. This is the 90s. So he keeps trying to go just a simple scoop slam on Yokozuna, but can't fucking lift Yoko up because Google Yokozuna if you don't understand. And he keeps trying to go for that scoop slam, but can't get him up. And he's throwing those punches. He's throwing those big boots. And we obviously know Kevin Nash got them fucking big boots. But they're not doing it because Yokozuna's so fucking massive. And he's been training for this rematch this entire time. And then, just by the skin of his teeth, Nash finds his opening. Yokozuna still can't put Nash away. He goes up on the top rope. He's gonna hit a fucking crossbody. This is the 90s. This was still impressive. So he's gonna hit a fucking 300+ pound crossbody. But no, Nash springs up quickly and scrambles up, hits a super fucking plex off the top rope. 1, 2, 3. Nash scrapes by, but he fucking did it. And you know what happens as soon as his music hits? The Hart Foundation jumps him.
And that's why we were building up to this In Your House 4 from Winnipeg, Alberta, Manitoba, Canada, at the Winnipeg Arena.
Bret Hart versus Kevin Nash with the special guest referee, Razor Ramon.
Oh no.
Razor's got beef with both. Most of his beef is with Nash, but a lot of it is rooted around the fact that he knows he could have beat, in his heart of hearts, he knows he could have beaten Nash for that belt, and he wants to be the one to beat Nash for that belt. But at the same time, he fucking hates Nash by now, and he wants him to lose the belt. So the way Razor views it is, who would he rather fight for the belt more, Bret or Nash?
No
He
one
has bad blood with both wrestlers.
Does he want to beat the man he couldn't beat for the title, or does he want to beat the man that he knew he had beat before in Bret?
Exactly. The way he views it is that's a mountain already conquered. He hasn't conquered Mount Diesel yet. So he is the middleman in this, much to Nash's chagrin. Bret fully believes that Razor will fuck over Nash and give Bret the belt. And Bret views this as, I'll win the belt and then fight Razor and beat him and get my redemption there too. So Brett is delusional in thinking that this is a sure shot, I'm winning the belt. He's already cutting championship celebration promos on TV before he's even won the belt.
We would have a nice TV segment where Brett talks about he's dedicating the title win to his dad and all this stuff. He's got to have Stu.
1 week he dedicates it to Stu, the next it's to Owen, the next it's to Jim, and then we finally have our In Your House main event. Razor comes out first because obviously the referee, if it's a special guest, needs to come out first. Take some fucking notes, Tyler.
Yeah. Tactical nuke.
But Nash is coming out there. He's still a little bit injured because he's been getting jumped by the Hart Foundation a lot because as tall as he is, 3-on-1's a tough number to overcome. So he's been getting jumped. His legs are fucking hurt. And Brett comes out skippity-doo-dee and starts immediately going for the sharpshooter to try to crack those legs of big old Kevin Nash. He's wrenching it in. Kevin Nash, because he's long as fuck, keeps getting to the ropes. Brett's getting fucking pissed. And Jim and Owen, mind you, are out there cornering him. And they keep trying to pull shenanigans. But Nash is knocking him down. Razor's turning a blind eye to anything that happens. So then finally, they're brawling outside of the ring. Razor's out there watching them, and Brett smacks Nash in the leg with the hammer for the corner bell. And Razor allows it. So Nash is selling out there. Brett's stomping on his leg, and then Nash hits a wild uppercut on Brett, stuns him for a little bit, grabs that hammer, and smacks Brett back in the leg. Razor allows it because he truly doesn't have any horse in this fight. He just wants the belt. The belt is all he cares about. So he's
in his head, if they kick each other out here, his job's going to be easier later on.
Exactly. The more banged up they are, the less work he has to do. So he's letting them ham it in. So they're pounding each other with that. And then they start brawling. So Brett hits Nash with the bell. He gets up. Nash hits Brett with the fucking bell. Razor's allowing all of it. This match essentially becomes a street fight because Razor doesn't give a fuck about what they do to each other. All he cares about is who he has to beat for the belt. Ultimately, because already we've clearly had a lot of ring bell play in this ring, so the finish is Brett eating a jackknife on the bell. Razor retains. Nash retains. Razor begrudgingly hitting that 3 as soon as he lifts Nash hands, kicks him in the dick again.
Nice. So that will put us at Survivor Series 95 from Landover, Maryland. And on that card, you have several big matches, with it being Survivor Series. You got a Survivor Series Eliminator match, the Dark Side, Undertaker, Savio Vega, Henry Godwin, Fatu defeat, the Royals. Are you changing any?
We are. The brass in the Federation are upset with the way the things had went down at the previous pay-per-view. So, to get back in the good graces of the fans, I believe Gorilla Monsoon was commissioner at this point, and he was the fans.
He was.
Or president, rather. They weren't commissioner. He's going to book a dream match for the fans. We're going to have that young, up-and-coming, upstart, babyface hero, The Undertaker, taking on the unstoppable world champion Diesel.
Undertaker, mind you, has been on a real streak lately. So when we initially booked this out, There was so much stuff that this would be a minimum 3-hour episode if we truly laid out everything we had mapped out. We overbooked. But as
We read book
text, so mind you, and I've mentioned we had our Undertaker-Shawn rivalry, I'm pretty sure at this point. So Undertaker only lost by countout. Undertaker during this whole year has not been beaten by pinfall or submission. Only by DQ and countout. This is prior context to lead up to this. So as course correction, we have our unstoppable monster heel versus our unstoppable monster babyface. Nash versus Undertaker.
No, Taker's a babyface.
Is he?
Yeah, because he would have been the purple Undertaker. He was babyface. He was super babyface. That was the whole thing. Well, that was the whole thing with them booking this match to begin with. Was it was similar to when they booked the IC title match, ladder match that year at SummerSlam. It was for the fans. This was the for the fans match. People love the Undertaker. People at this point would hopefully love Diesel. And you got two big, almost 7-foot tall motherfuckers fighting with no shenanigans. We're going to have a big hoss fight. Let's fucking go.
Just to make it extra for the fans, we didn't map out for this, but just here on top, it's a fucking steel cage.
Sure. Whatever. So the Hearts can't get involved.
Exactly.
Razor can't get involved.
And we have, trust you, we have run-ins. The Hart Foundation does come in and just frowns outside the cage. And then you know who else comes out? Bob Backlund. And he also frowns outside the cage. And then the Hart Foundation and Bob Backlund just start brawling because obviously you have to have shenanigans outside the ring.
Sure.
What the fuck are we? Trying to make our crowd bored? Trying to make them buy merch?
Did we have this as Diesel beating the Undertaker clean?
Yes.
To
Or no, it wasn't kind of. It was a half clean finish. Because I remember Razor climbed the cage and did some bullshit.
He came out as a druid.
That's what it was.
Ramon came out as a fucking druid. Clears out the heels that are fighting, gets in the fucking cage, tries to do some shit. Blasts fucking D, takes the hood off. Holy shit, it's Razor Ramon. Oh no! So then we have, going forward, we have the Go Home Raw after the shenanigans at the Survivor Series with Diesel and The Undertaker. Because you don't want it. Taker can't lose. Diesel
Exactly. It's the fucking Undertaker. He's too spooky.
So we have a big fucking promo at the Go Home Raw to go in in your house.
Yeah, in your house, 5, Hershey, Pennsylvania. And on that card, we had Oddman Johnson versus Buddy Landell, Razor and Marty Jannetty versus Psycho Sid and 123 Kid. Owen versus, well, we're changing that. Yeah. So, what are you leaving some of those the same, or are you changing any of that?
Sure, like the undercard can stay the same except for the parts that we need for the story.
Yeah.
So we would have the go home, not knowing what our main event for In Your House is going to be. We would have some sort of a promo situation where the Undertaker kind of makes his case for wanting to have another go with Diesel. Then, god damn it, here come the fucking Hearts again, and they start beating everybody up because it's 3-on-2. But who makes the fucking save? Shawn Michaels? Are you fucking me right now? This little pissant fucking heel?
Exactly. By this point, Shawn and Nash have already kind of went their separate ways. They've won their respective single titles. They've just kind of drifted apart at this point. They're still kind of friends, but they haven't really interacted much on television in
Since their big split.
months.
Yeah. So it's a 3-on-2 beatdown, and then Shawn makes the fucking save. which would set up for In Your House being Shawn Michaels and Diesel against the Three Hearts, Bret, Owen, and Jim. But in the finish to this, who runs out? The British fucking Bulldog. Davey comes back. Or at least makes himself a part of the Hart Foundation. Now we have the fucking unit together again, don't we? Excuse that sound. But then that'll fucking, of course, break down into shenanigan, which would then set up for Bret getting his fucking rematch finally against Diesel again at Royal Rumble 1996. Bret versus Diesel. One more fucking time.
2 out of 3
Felt never get another shot at it. Bret, you can't win. You never get another shot at it. It's your last fucking chance.
2 out of 3 falls. He has to beat him square. Because, mind you, in the build-up, Bret has managed to get a pin in a multi-man tag. They're 1-1. So what better way to cap off their saga than a dead set, I've just pinned you 2 times in the same match, get the fuck away from me, a 2 out of 3 falls at the Royal Rumble in the co-main event, because Royal Rumble matches should always main event.
I don't recall, did we have Shawn dropping the IC title at
Yes.
96 or before it?
No, we had him drop it before he won the Rumble. I just am blanking on who it was to.
I don't recall either. So let's just say he dropped it to someone along that line.
Was it that Dust?
To context to our viewers, I don't think you understand, and this is the worst part that I don't remember, is we had mapped out so much of Shawn's IC title run, except for him dropping it.
Yeah. Because we had several options for him to drop it to. We had Goldust. We had Owen. We had Kid. We had... I think there was even a babyface match with him and Ahmed that would have been decent. Because I don't...
want to say
Ahmed Johnson was good.
I want to say I actually picked Ahmed Johnson to win it.
Yeah, because Ahmed was good. Like, fuck you if you disagree with me. I liked Ahmed Johnson.
That is the weirdest fucking opinion ever.
I liked Ahmed Johnson?
Yeah.
Dude, Ahmed Johnson was awesome.
Yeah, Ahmed was fucking... He was gangbusters, dude.
It doesn't matter that he sucked. He was awesome.
Yeah. You can be a terrible wrestler and still be awesome.
Look at Goldberg.
No, don't look at Goldberg. Whatever you do, don't look at Goldberg. Ahmed is a strong candidate. He's a fringe boy for me. If we're gonna
he's unfortunately outside of boy stable eligibility, but goddamn is he a boy.
Wait, why would he be outside of being boy eligible?
He held the Intercontinental, didn't he?
That's not a world championship.
That's too close to the sun during that era.
No, you have to be a heavyweight, like, world champion.
Ahmed is too pushed to be a boy for me. But
could be a boy.
Anyways, Royal Rumble main event, we have Bret Hart versus Kevin Nash Diesel. 2 out of 3 falls.
Was there shenanigans in this finish?
Yes.
Okay.
Because Bret's first fall is a disqualification. We start the match, we're tussling, we're bustling. And you know who comes out to make it truly full circle to pay off of our ring bell storyline?
I mean, let's go with
Dex Nash with the fucking ring bell. Hart. Which then, immediate disqualification. Nash has now got the first fall. Bret Hart has none. Actually, no, sorry. I don't know why I said smashed him in the head with the ring belt. He smashed him in the knee because I forgot. Bret Hart immediately gets his first fall with a sharpshooter on that injured knee after the ring bell slam.
Yes.
So now we're even. We're 1-1. They're brawling. They're everythinging. Mind you, also, Razor Ramon is on special guest commentary.
Indeed.
And Razor just keeps no-selling everything about them. Fast forward to the end of the match. Nash gets that win, that big boot jackknife. Fucking gas. 1, 2, 3, but no. Who yanks the referee out of the fucking ring right as Nash is about to get the win? It's Razor Ramon rushing down from the commentary booth, the whole 12 feet.
It's even that far.
And that's being modest. I honestly think it was more like 8 max.
Yeah, like 3 steps maximum.
Oh, especially Razor's a big ass dude, so it really was like 6 feet away to him.
Yes.
But he yanks Earl Hebner. And in case you haven't noticed, I don't remember any other referees that were around during that time.
I think Tim White.
He yanks Tim White out of the ring.
Well, the main event had to been Earl. It would have had to been Earl. It was the main event.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you're right. It had to have been Earl. Because the main event's the Rumble.
I mean, the world title match. It had to.
Okay, yeah, but he yanks Hebner out. And what the fuck? Nash is pissed. Because he has hit, and by the crowd's counter, he has hit a 10 count now, but has not retained his belt yet. What the fuck? So he's looking around. He sees Razor. He's holding Hebner, and you know what Razor does? He Razor's edges Hebner onto the apron. And you know who comes rushing out to be our second referee? Tim White, because I just learned of his name. So he runs in. He tries to make another cover because Nash is still pinning him. By this point, he's hit 30 seconds. Of course, Bret Hart kicks out because it's Bret Hart. He's literally the second best wrestler in the world of all time.
Kazuchika Okada, yes.
Yeah, behind Bryan Danielson. But anyways,
Kazuchika Okada incorrectly.
But anyways,
That's a different episode.
the second best wrestler in the world behind Bryan Danielson manages to capitalize. And the referee is distracted. And he manages to hit what is Nash's key weakness, which by modern WWE standards has been clearly laid out as the only weakness to top guys: dick kicks.
I thought
Bret Hart kicks him in his overly elongated, tall ball sack.
See, I thought this was the surprise small package finish where Nash set up for the jackknife, and then Bret small packages him out of nowhere.
I'm not done.
Oh. I'm sorry.
He kicks him in the fucking dick. Goes for a schoolboy. Clearly, this is going to be the end of Kevin Nash. No, as Jake just spoiled, it's not the end of Kevin Nash. Because Kevin Nash kicks out. And he kicks out. Bret's punch him in the face, and he's gnashing it up. That's the term. He's gnashing it up. He's eating those shots and firing up because we don't mention that tan bald man with the skullet. So he's gnashing up. He's eating those shots. Oh my God, big boot. Oh my God, another big boot. Oh my fucking God, another big boot. Razor's just sitting there like, well, shit. And he hoists him up for the jackknife. And as he's about to bring him down, oh my God, a roll through into a roll up pin. Bret Hart's on top. Razor fast counts on him. And your new WWF heavyweight champion of the world's plural. The second best wrestler in the world, Bret the Hitman Hart.
You pronounced best in the world incorrectly, but all right.
Well, after that, this will put us at In Your House 6 from Louisville, Kentucky.
In which we get an incredible 6-man tag.
Lay it on us.
the Hart Foundation, Brett Owen, and Jimmy Boy versus none other than Kevin, Sean, who has just won the Royal Rumble, and Razor all on one team together. How the fuck can they coexist? How do they coexist? How do they coexist?
Because they're the clique.
But how do they coexist? Booking. So we get our main event to our build-up because the WrestleMania main event is already set. It's Brett versus Sean. And Brett's already laid down the challenge. He also showed his ballsack on live television because he's a heel. Iron Man match.
And set up by now.
Have the 6-man tag. And honestly, the match structure doesn't even really matter out of this entire run. All you need to know is obviously the Hart Foundation fucking wins because Razor kicks Nash in the dick again and costs him the match. Nash gets pinned by Brett, thus locking Nash out of any kind of championship rematch eligibility. Because he just got pinned in a 6-man by the champion, so why would he get a singles rematch?
There it is.
New Japan booking, dog.
I really feel like this is turning into an episode of Team 4-Star.
So, you know who starts cutting a wild-ass promo? Heated as fuck, angry as fuck, mad. He wants blood at the end of that match. Kevin fucking Nash, and he wants Razor fucking Ramon. He's sick of Razor being a dampening spot on his historic title run, and then further accentuating it to being the reason why he lost the belt in the first place. So he wants Razor at WrestleMania. Loser leaves town.
But here's where the dirt sheets come in. We are keeping it the same. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash have both already signed that they're going to WCW. So this is already here. They're leaving. Vince knows they're leaving. Creative knows they're leaving. So they set up this loser leaves town match, or loser leaves the Federation match for WrestleMania 12. We also have Brett versus Sean, Iron Man. Anyway, because it's a fantastic match and I love it. I have a picture of the fucking match that Bret Hart signed for me personal. One of my favorite matches of all time. WrestleMania 12 is going to be a fucking kick in the ass, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm on Kevin Nash, Bret Hart versus Sean. Let's fucking go. Get in the car.
Well, you've set it up, and here we are. WrestleMania 12. From
Anaheim on. It's a fantastic building, by the way. I've been to it. It was wonderful.
Yeah, I remember I wrestled you there in one of your first matches.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You did.
I beat you.
You did. I've never beaten you. I want my win back.
Maybe one day, young boy. But anyways.
The loser leaves. Razor Ramon and Big D. We're doing this. Let's go. No DQs. Loser.
This is our main event of WrestleMania, by the way, because obviously belt goes on last, but this is that co-main where this is obviously got the most hype building into it, but we obligatory have to have the belt go on last because who the fuck are we, Lawrence Taylor?
Not right. Didn't we have the idea to put this on first, like to open the show with this?
You're right. Actually, we did. And I just forgot. This was supposed to be the WrestleMania opener, was the street fight, because it went long. It was supposed to be this, obviously excluding an Iron Man match, the second longest on the card. It was supposed to go about 35, 40 minutes. But they were going to be brawling. They were supposed to brawl all over the place because it was going to be a no DQ. Not falls count anywhere. Very specific, but no DQ, so obviously there's no count out, so they can brawl all over because they went all over the stadium, were brawling all around the crowd and all that dumb shit that people love at WrestleMania.
And this was like Scott and Kev's like love letter to thanks for everything you've done for us. We're gonna give you everything we've got. we're leaving. This is our last night.
Yeah. And so they're beating the dog piss out of each other in the stands after we are bare minimum 12 minutes into this match before they have gotten into the ring. I salute to you, Tank, and your structuring of matches.
Love Tank.
But we have just now, in Tank fashion, gotten to the ring 12 minutes in. And they're beating the piss out of each other because because I feel like the validity of it held up more in the 80s and 90s versus nowadays, where now everyone just goes, so it's a street fight or a no DQ, because no DQ matches have 8 different names, and everybody knows if you want to draw biggest, the best possible name to fit it as is a no holds barred. So obviously this is a no holds barred match. So they're beating the piss out of each other. They're using steel chairs. There's a single table set up. Once again, this is the 90s, dog. This is the Fed. We weren't that crazy. So there's a singular table set up for the finish. But they're beating the piss out of each other because everyone gets one steel chair. And of course, Hebner's the referee for this because it's a spicy-ass match. They're beating the piss out of each other, and then we start to get the setup. What do we get? Nash is up for the Razor's Edge. He's about to go through the table. And what do we get as a freakish astonishment of wrestling? Nash hits a fucking Frankensteiner.
Wow. Damn, Kev learned a 6th move.
Kevin learned to do a Frankensteiner, or as you modern nerds know it, a Poison Rana. Through the table, Razor's bumping his ass off. It's like SummerSlam with Shawn and Hogan all before it ever happened. Shawn learned from here because Razor is overly bumping his ass off through that table. But Kevin Nash, he goes for the cover and then quickly lifts up before the 3 count and is like, I don't want to do this with you, brother. We're best friends. What if we just walk away? And Razor hits the whole, I hate you, Anakin Skywalker shit. So they start punching the fuck out of each other. They, while punching each other, set up another table. They are brawling up on the top rope, and then they do some dumb 80s bullshit to dive off. And they both go through the table, both have an arm over each other, but both are on their backs. 1, 2, 3. They both lose.
They both have to leave.
Nice.
And
Nash is pissed. Because Razor accepts that he has to lose, but he also technically made Nash lose. So to him, this is ultimate vindication. Razor's just laughing in the ring. He's okay with this storybook ending. Nash is furious because in Nash's mind, he always viewed it as, once I'm done with Razor, I can get back to Brett in the belt.
Yep.
And now he can't. He's gone. So he has no choice but to go to WCW, where Razor Ramon is also going. And he already knows that Razor is planning to go to WCW, but he has no choice but to befriend Razor again to start the NWO. But our initial planning was to inadvertently fuck the NWO, because if you end it this way, then why the fuck would Nash and Razor be friends when they debut?
Which I like the best. Like, that's you just hamstrung 2-3 years worth of WCW storyline.
Well, and the best part about that is when I first said the finish of Loser Leaves Town and they both a double pin, and then you just immediately chimed in with the, cool, you just fucked over WCW.
Like, there's no NWO now.
Exactly. You could have still done the NWO, but you couldn't have done it right then. You would have had to take a couple more months.
And even so, like, you could still make an argument that Nash and then Paul would not have been friends. But anyway, into the main event, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Iron Man, world title, goes about the same way. Except Bret has more of the heel edge on him because he's the heel. Shawn still wins. Bret still takes his time off to go film Lonesome Dove. And that still opens it up to Austin coming in and still cutting his promos about Bret. Bret, you couldn't do it. You couldn't beat that guy. You're washed up. You've got nothing. That's why you left. That's why you're off in Hollywood doing TV shows. Bret still comes back. Bret comes back as the baby face, thus getting back in the good graces of all the fans because I'm going to shut this loudmouth motherfucker up. And then history goes back around as it had, the same way that it was laid out to go.
I enjoyed that way better than what actually happened, and you guys put that together very well. I hope everybody who listens to this enjoyed it as well, because these are very well thought out episodes. Not a lot goes into them, and that's why it takes so long to put one up.
It was way easier to book this with the benefit of, like, knowing how things actually went. Like, when we accidentally fucked over the NWO being a thing, like, we hadn't planned on that, but, like, testing the waters for the Hart Foundation being a thing several years before it became a thing. We had the benefit of hindsight in knowing exactly how the world would end up working itself out.
And see, I want to touch on something too. This is a little behind the scenes thing. I'll say this and we'll wrap it up. When they told me this is where we came up with another episode where, what if they stayed and then, Hall and Nash stayed and joined DX instead of,
oh, brother.
Yeah, where you had Trips, Shawn.
Yeah, that's a whole future episode that I personally believe WCW would have never gained its traction if they had all of them and if the Click was DX. I legitimately believe WCW would have never taken off.
Well, see, I feel the opposite. I feel like if you'd have had those fuckers together still in 96, 97, Fed would have been out of business.
Really?
Yes. I feel like those guys together at that time, given the circumstances behind how those guys are, would have killed Vince's business. Because you would have made no new stars. And they would have blocked so many.
But my main thing is
Austin would have never happened.
But Austin would have never happened, but the only tickets WCW had was they still had Sting, they still had Flair, but Sting was still good, but Flair was a fading star. And then Booker T wasn't ready yet.
Absolutely not.
So I think main event wise, WCW would have drowned if Nash and Razor stuck around and were part of DX.
Well, you still have Hogan leave. You would still...
Well, but Hogan would have been WCW's only saving grace in my eyes because, yeah, Hogan was a massive move for WCW.
Well, you had Savage.
You had Savage. You could have...
Exactly, but you had those two, but Hogan less so. Savage, I feel like externally was viewed more as you just signed a legend versus Hogan. But those two names, even if you didn't view them as we got legend status name, those are shorter shelf names versus a Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Nash, and Razor ran WWF. I think WCW would have went out of business a few years earlier if they ran that.
Kind of agree, but that's just me.
I just feel like Vince would have never been able to make new stars with those guys in charge.
It ultimately would have been worse off for wrestling as a whole because it would have hurt WWF in the long run. But because, yeah, literally just like you said, there would be no reason to make new stars when you've got 4 fucking top ones. I have so many to choose from. But it would have ran out WCW quicker, but it would have hurt them in the long run more. Because once those DX dudes are starting to run out of their bump card, then what? You haven't spent any time to build up anyone else.
Because these guys didn't let you.
Because you've now got 4 fucking top mouths to feed and keep happy.
With
that's
gigantic egos.
That is a story for another what if. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're going to get out of here. Jake, what do they need to do?
Bring money!
Bring Kevin Nash big boot.